Hi there, I'm Kate and I'm delighted to be working with sea salt again. In today's project, I'm going to show you how to make your very own wooden hanging Christmas tree decoration like this one here. Doesn't that look nice? Pretty much all made using foraged items from nature. So I've used hazelwood and then a few leaves and berries here and there. It's not too tricky, so please follow along. For this project, you will need some secateurs, a glue gun, a tape measure, some garden twine or some string, and some fairy lights will make it look really nice and sparkly. I've used these string lights that come on wire that you can wind around the tree. And then of course you'll need the wood and the foliage to create the tree. I have used hazelwood because the sticks of hazel are super straight, so it means that our tree is going to be nice and neat. But you can use whatever sticks or twigs you can find. For example, this one here has got some lovely lichen and moss growing on it, and I thought that might add a really lovely element to the tree. Whichever sticks you use, you need to have 8 in total. The longest needs to measure 40 centimetres long, and then they need to go down in 5 centimetre smaller increments until you get to one that measures just 5 centimetres long. And then of course I've got lots of other bits and bobs to decorate the tree with. So I've gathered some ivy. You could also use bay or rosemary would work really nicely, whatever you can find. I've got some cinnamon sticks, some dried orange slices, and also some berries. You can use whatever you like. I've also found a Christmas tree star decoration. This is a lovely wooden star that I'm going to pop on the top of my Christmas tree. Right, let's get started. So I'm going to take the longest piece of wood. So this one measures 40 centimetres long. And I'm going to take my piece of garden twine or string. And first of all, we need to tie a knot around one end of the stick with the twine. Okay, so I've tied a nice tight knot around the end of this stick with the twine, and I'm going to cut the end off with the pair of scissors. And I've made sure that the knot is about 4 centimetres in from the edge of the stick. Then we'll take the 35 centimetre long piece of hazelwood and we're going to tie a knot 4 centimetres in from the edge of that one. And I'm going to use a clove hitch knot because that's a nice secure knot and it means that the sticks will sit nice and flat as we go up. So to do a clove hitch, you put your string over the top, bring it back underneath, and then cross it back over itself and back underneath. So I've made a little cross here. Bring it back up on the left-hand side. And then you want to put the end through that top cross, like this. There we go. And I'm not going to quite tighten that knot because I want to make sure that the gap between the two pieces of wood is about 6 centimetres, which this one is, so that was handy. So now I can pull it tight. And as you can see, that makes a nice tight knot and holds the piece of wood in place. And again, just make sure that the knot is roughly 4 centimetres in from the edge of the stick. Okay, I'm going to keep working my way through. So now I'm going to get the 30 centimetre long piece of wood. And again, let's do another clove hitch. So the string goes over the top of the piece of wood and back underneath towards you. And then it goes over the top again, but you want to cross over the first piece of string like this. And then again, bring it back underneath towards you. And then this time you can just pop the end through that top piece of string, which is crossing over to make the cross. And again, let's just make sure it's 4 centimetres in from the edge, which it is. And then again, we want to make sure that it is about 6 or 7 centimetres up from previous one. You can have whatever dimensions you like, but just make sure that you're even each time. So ours is actually exactly 7 centimetres. So let's do that each time now. So 7 centimetres up and we can tighten the knot. Oh, it's such a satisfying knot to make. There we go. Oh, it's all coming together quite quickly, as you can see in front of me. I have finished tying the knots all the way up the left-hand side of the stick. So I've got a nice long piece of string which is attaching all of these pieces of wood together. I've made sure that they're all about 4 centimetres in from the edge, and they're all about 6 or 7 centimetres up from each other, so the gaps are all uniform. So what we need to do next is repeat that process on the other side so that the sticks are going to hang nice and straight when we hold the tree up. Right, so I've got all of the sticks attached in place with the string and our special clove hitch knots. What you can do next is take your glue gun and just put a little dab of glue over each of the knots to make sure that they don't slide around and everything holds in place as you'd like it to. You'll find on the very top piece of wood that the 2 knots are right next to each other, so that the top of the tree is a perfect triangle like this. At the very top, you can just tie a knot in both pieces of string like that to make a loop, and then chop the ends off. So this is what your tree will hang by at the top. And the next job is to start decorating. I think it's best to start with the fairy lights first, so I'm going to take those and start winding them around the pieces of wood and up the pieces of string. It's best to get that on first because you might want to use this for years to come, and if you're using fresh foliage and berries, you'll want to remove those in between each Christmas, whereas the fairy lights, they can stay put. Because these lights are on wire, they wrap round really nicely and hold their place on the wood, so they're the perfect ones to be using. So once you've wrapped along one of the pieces of wood, you can just make your way up the string on this side and go across the wood and keep working your way up, kind of in like a ladder shape, like that. Right, so the lights have now been wound around our lovely wooden structure. If I turn them on, you'll be able to see. There we go, twinkling. So all that's left to do is add any other decorations that you would like. Let's start with the star at the top. So I'm going to take this lovely wooden star. If you don't have a wooden star or a decoration that you can use, you could just cut one out of card if you'd like to. I'm going to simply put some glue gun glue on the back and then stick it onto the top little bit of hazelwood that I've got on my tree. So a nice big blob of glue, and then we will stick it onto the top rung of the tree like that. I'll just hold it in place until the glue's dried. There we go, that's our star at the top. And now you can add whatever else you like. So I think I might keep this one quite simple. I've got a few bits of bay leaf here, which will look quite nice, just dotted around. So all you do is get your glue gun, put some glue on the back, and then add it onto your tree wherever you'd like it to be. Okay, so that's the bay attached to the tree. I've also got some lengths of ivy here, but I don't want the greenery of the ivy to take away from the lovely wooden pieces of hazel that I've got going across the tree. So what I'm going to do instead is glue these to the sticks, but behind, so you can just see parts of the leaves poking out from behind the wood. So I'll cut it to length, and then I'll turn the tree over, then just pop some glue along this twig here before I stick the ivy in place. And I'm going to repeat that for another one of the bare sticks towards the top of the tree as well. Oh, it's coming together so nicely. I think all that's left to do is add a few berries here and there. You could, of course, leave it like this, but I think a few more berries and then I'm going to call it a day. There we go, all finished. I absolutely love this project. I think it's going to look so pretty hanging up in my home over the Christmas season, and pretty much all made from foraged items from nature as well. If you've enjoyed making one of these at home, we would absolutely love to see your creations, so please don't forget to tag us. Thank you so much for watching and have a lovely Christmas. Goodbye.